Okay, so the discussion today is about how businesses can survive the crisis of the coronavirus and the aftermath. Please, just before I start, once again, for the people who joined recently, I kindly ask you to mute your microphones and just unmute them in case you have a question, because we are getting some background noise. Okay, so what are we going to talk today about? We're going to talk about the overall situation, the impact on supply and demand, the general impact, and then more specifically in our markets. Then what would be the 5 top priorities of any small business owner or family business owner? What are the different strategy models which we can use in order to reassess our position? What are the impacted industries, the viable options, and some references and resources for all of us to tap in? So I say that there is a new and better tomorrow for sure. However, there is a long path leading to it. And later we're going to discuss about it, but actually the longer the crisis will last, the longer would be the recovery time. So we need to all be ready for this. Everybody is talking about it, and we're going to give you a couple of sources as well. So who is affected? And this is just to understand the global impact. 170 countries out of 195 are affected by the coronavirus. So we are not alone, and what Canada is experiencing and what Atlantic Canada is experiencing and what Nova Scotia is experiencing is not unique. Of course, every country has a different rate of infections and different rate of impact on the population. However, every country has already felt the economic pressure, the economic downturn, and all this impact on our businesses and on our revenue stream. Yesterday, I was talking as well to a couple of friends in different parts of the world. Some of them were in Dubai, some of them were in Southeast Asia, some of them are in the United States, and they are all feeling the same pressure and the same issues which we are having over here. So where are we today and what to expect from all this? Are you all hearing me? Hello? Yes, okay,
yes.
Yes, okay. So what to expect today? So today we are in a severe recession which is on our doorsteps, and definitely we are into it. It's not anymore on the doorsteps, it's starting. People and employees are sick or quarantined. So this means that the world production and the supply chain are slowing down. And why is that? Because many people cannot reach to their workplace, and then what's going to happen is that many factories has closed down. The global economy is facing a severe supply shortage, and definitely this is being seen. If you go to the major retail stores, you see what kind of shortage we are having. And also if you want to look at the medical supply, so technically we started to understand how it's impacting our daily life, from the simple stuff which we need every day, or to some specific material which specific industries are in need for or looking for. And what's going to happen? Anyone who doesn't need to talk now, please mute your microphone. It's very important. We're getting lots of background noise. Okay, so this is going to create demand is high on some of the product services, like for example, all of a sudden there was a rush on the hand sanitizers, toilet paper, and this kind of stuff, but also less demand on other products, such as if you want to look at the gas stations, now there is much less demand on fuel because you have people who are traveling less, then you have less demand on luxury. And sorry, I will just give a minute for people who have a background noise. Let me see if I can mute all because it's a little bit distracting. Excuse me, everyone. Can you please mute your microphones? I have to mute one by one, so just bear with me for a second. We are a large group. I feel for the people who have kids, so let us just give them a minute. Excuse me, anyone with kids can please mute the microphone. Perfect, thank you so much. Okay, so now we can continue. So I was talking that demand is going to be high on some of our products and services and less high on other products and services. So we're going to see market disruption and then hence another major disruption in supply chain. So imagine that already major production centers, factories or supply chain or warehouses are not able to produce as they were producing even before the crisis, and now all of a sudden you have an increase in their products. So definitely you're going to have a negative effect in the market. So this is going to stimulate a strong inflation over time. Probably we're not going to feel it immediately, but at some point we're going to see some inflation, some prices are going up. And for many reasons, it could be cost of procurement, a shortage of raw material, and this kind of stuff. We're not talking about people who are being opportunistic and trying to increase the prices just to get more profits, but it's more about across the whole supply chain, we're going to see in some industries, on some products, a stronger increase in cost and hence in the retail price. And then what I expect to happen is that we're going to have a mild to severe market contraction, and then we're going to explain a little bit how the economics of this works so that we understand why this could happen. So what are the simple laws of supply and demand? Just as a definition, supply and demand in economics is the relationship between the quantity of commodity that producers wish to sell at various prices and the quantity that consumers wish to buy. So for example, this was the curve just before the crisis. In a normal condition, suppliers are willing to give a certain quantity to the market, and then the consumers are willing to pay for this quantity at a certain price. So this is when you have the equilibrium in these two situations between supply and demand. Now, what's happening today? We are having a scenario which is, I think, a best-case scenario where supply is decreasing and demand is decreasing as well in a linear manner. So all what's going to happen is that the prices are going to remain the same. However, the consumers are going to consume less, and they will change a little bit their habits, so they are not going to use probably the same products or services which they were using before. And hence, we can maintain the same price, but technically the whole market value is going to reduce a little bit. And this is what we're going to call it a market contraction. Okay, so in other terms, you can also call it a recession. And in other terms as well, you can call it that the GDP of the country is going to be affected. You know, the GDP, which is the gross domestic product, is that how products and services are produced and then consumed in a specific market. That includes as well trade. Now, there is another scenario, which is a worst case scenario where the supply is decreasing. However, we are going to have a much steeper decrease in demand. And hence, what we're going to see is a severe market contraction where prices are going to be much lower because there is much less demand. And anyway, there is a shift in the user and in the user behavior. And here, let me give you a couple of examples. Let me take examples. Again, you know, I am trying to take local examples, but it's not intended to offend anyone, but I want just to give a concrete example. Like, for example, if someone used, I don't know, to go and buy clothes from Roots, for example, here in Halifax. Probably in the next 6 to 12 months, the people who are buying Roots, and you know that Roots is not a cheap brand, so it is positioned as middle to upper middle class, if not higher. So the question is that people here in this economic downturn, where people have seen that part of their salary gone maybe, or they are on a technical layoff, even if they are on EI, so psychologically they are not ready to spend. So even if we are getting out of the crisis, it will take them a much longer period to go back to their original habits. And then hence, Roots, for example, might see a steeper decrease in demand, and then maybe they might have to review their prices, and if not, they will have to do many promotions, and that you know that maybe the tagline of a product might not go down, but with the promotions, technically they are getting less revenue. And then, so imagine that now we're going to scale this scenario on every single industry, like restaurants, entertainment, travel, hotels, whatever, you name it. So then the whole market will see a contraction, and this is what we call a severe contraction.
That's my RSP contribution.
Sorry? Someone had a question? Okay. So, okay, I will continue. So technically, also let's talk a little bit about how inflation works. So inflation is a steep supply decrease, but a much lower demand increase. So what's going to happen is that the prices are going to go up because technically there is less supply, and then the demand is still existing. So people probably are willing to pay a little bit more to get the product which they used to consume before. However, I believe that this might not happen to anything that is what we call complementary services and unnecessary products and services, but might happen on the what we call them necessary. And of course, every consumer is different. So what is necessary for me might not be necessary for you. But again, we're not talking about an individual preferences. We're talking about a whole market shift. Like 3 or 4 people changing their habits on a product is not going to create an economic shift in the market. However, if a mass or a majority of the consumers are going to change a mindset and move in one direction, this is how we are going to see our markets affected. So our prediction, and this is my prediction, which is an unfortunate prediction, I think that we're going to have a severe market contraction. And why I am saying this, I will put just a caveat. If in case we are getting out of this crisis, I mean the self-isolation, the social distancing, and then everything goes back to normal within the next maybe months or two, probably we will not have a severe market contraction, but we will still have a market contraction. But the longer this stays, then definitely it will take us a much longer time to recover. Many other sources and resources are talking about what I just said, that if we get out of this within a month or two, then probably the recovery period would be around 12 months. However, McKinsey & Co. is also predicting that it will take longer, and then the recovery will start in Q2 of 2021, which is June of 2021. So we are going to get into an economic crisis, severe market contraction, some inflation in different parts of the world, and maybe on some products, not on all products and services, and that the recovery will start only in the summer of next year. So the outlook is not great. However, if we take the proper measures as small businesses, we will probably be able to survive and to be able to remain in the market in a way where we can contribute and add value to the community and try as much as possible. I wouldn't say anymore to be profitable, but I would say as much as possible to at least break even. Okay, because for all the reasons which we stated before. Now, what does it mean for family businesses, small businesses, and for startups? So the business world which we knew will not come back. And we have to rethink our priorities, our business models, and alliances. And why we are saying this? Because of what we are saying right now, we are all realizing that a virus that spread all over the world, so which is like, we call it a catastrophe. And then if anything like this would come in the future, it could be maybe not a health issue, but it could be a security issue. It could be a natural disaster. We all realize that we are not ready to do business in this kind of situation. And when we say all, it's not only me and you here who are in HRM or in Nova Scotia or in Canada. It's we, the global we, the whole world. We are all affected. Biggest markets are affected. A week ago, I was watching a talk with the foreign minister of Singapore, and he was saying that they need a minimum of 12 months to get out of the crisis if it ends right now. So, and we know that Singapore is one of the most forward-thinking and advanced economy, especially in the financial markets. And so they are also feeling the pressure a lot. So we are all not ready. And this is why we need to have a complete mindset, new mindset, and a complete shift in the way we do business. Now, people probably here are saying, yes, we need to go online, right? Everybody is going online, including this webinar. But I will tell you, not all industries, not all businesses can survive by just providing their services online. And I will give you an example. Like, let's say you are a tailor, right? At some point, people have to come and they have to try and they have to talk to you. And the question is how this business is going to move online, right? So unless you set up your business to be delivered and to be interacting with your customers online, you're not going to be able to do this. And also, for example, nowadays, even stores having refund policies, right? So like I can go to, I don't know, the Bay, I can purchase online, let's say clothes. I don't like them, I was able to return them. But today, given the virus and the risk of spreading the virus on the fabrics and on the plastic and all this, most of the stores and most of the big chains might change their return policy by saying, you know what, you're purchasing from me, you cannot return anymore. So this is going to reduce a lot the demand, right? Because many of us, for example, we're just buying, trying, we don't like it, it doesn't fit, then we return it and we get our money. So this is even money. But today it's not going to be any more even money, and this is the problem. So the problem, how these big chains as well, who have a huge inventory, how they are going to rethink the business so that they can move the stock and continue working on a day-to-day basis in a normal way. So again, I will reinforce that having said this, although it's so negative, but there is a new and better tomorrow, which we can all strive to. And again, it is a long path leading to it. So I assume by now you understand why I am saying that it is a long path that is leading to it. You know, it's not. And again, yesterday also I was reading one of the big and the major consulting firms, and they were saying that no one saw something like this in the world before. Even the crisis of 1918 with the Spanish flu, it wasn't that much compared to now in terms of speed of impact and the impact on a global basis. And everybody is saying there is no secret sauce. No one has the formula to get us out of here today. So every government, and here I just want to touch on this occasion only that every government is trying to help as much as possible. And I believe that what we saw here in Canada and what we're seeing here in Nova Scotia, I can tell you compared to other places in the world, we are blessed to get at least so much quick response. Some people might argue that it's enough. Some others might argue that it's not enough. We're not here to debate this, but all what we're saying is that the actions, they are definitely going to help. Now the question is that how long they can last, and are they enough, and all this time will tell. No one can predict, but I can see that the measures are being taken in the right direction. So let's talk a little bit about the position of Strategy Up and the position of other major players. And I came across a study or a paper from Ernst & Young. And we are talking almost the same language. Our blog, I don't know if you went to our website and you read my blog about this crisis. It was published on March 17th, whereas EY published on March 18th. I am not claiming that they copied from us, very far from this, but all what I am saying is that we are on the same page and we are all understanding the problem in the same way. We are both talking about health and safety, about how to take care of the employees and the customers, how to reshape the strategy, how to make sure that we have business continuity through cash flow management and different other strategy management as well, how to reassess the strategic alliances, including maximizing the use of government support and policies, which are very important because they are at least going to be, I would say, a blow of oxygen to small businesses until we realize how we can navigate through this tough times. And then last but not least, I always say we need to believe in ourselves. If we were successful businesses before the crisis and we knew how to manage our businesses, I am sure that we will get out of this crisis successfully. However, we need to take the right measures and we need to act fast. So what are the immediate actions that should happen? And this is our first priority, is health and safety. When we say this, is take care of your employees and take care of your leadership team. You know, just imagine for a second, look how important this period is for any business owner to be able to have clear mind, to be healthy, to have people around them whom they can count on, also healthy with a clear mind, so that we can take all the right decisions and we can support each other. So imagine for a second if the leadership team fall sick because of this virus at the same time, and then your employees as well, who are even working remotely, are getting sick. So all of a sudden, even if you had the capacity or the understanding of having a plan to execute, you're not going to be able to execute because everybody is sick. So please, first priority is health and safety. And I am sure that by now, every single entity, like if you are part of the Chamber of Commerce or any other business community or any other business association, they all issued the same warnings, the same do's and don'ts, and even the government had them everywhere. So please, I urge you to abide by them and make sure that you take care of yourself. Number 2 is employees and customers. When we say take care of employees, we all understand the pressure which we are under, right? And this is probably more prominent on labor-intensive businesses, where at some point they had to lay off employees, send them on EI, which is inevitable. But we need to treat everybody with care, respect, empathy, and compassion. Because if we put the people and the customers first, then what's going to happen is that after the crisis, they will work harder for us, and our customers will become more loyal after this crisis. And for example, for our own company, if I will go back to priority number 1, we sent our employees home and they are working remotely from home. And if I want to talk about priority number 2, taking care of our customers, I don't know if some of you probably were aware that we had a leadership training on the 27th of March, which was supposed to be an in-class training. So we moved it to online. So it's going to happen online on the 27th. However, any customer who purchased and told us that they don't want to attend online, we are giving them a full refund. Although our refund policy was saying that if you cancel 1 week before the training, you get only 50%. So all what I am trying to say is that no matter what kind of refund policies you have, even if it's going to make some stress on your cash flow, my recommendation is that take care of your customers. Put them first in this specific period. They need you because you will need them later. You know, again, as I said before, after this crisis, doing business will not go back to the same way we're doing business before. Everybody will remember how they were treated and what happened to them during this period, and then everyone are going to reassess their alliances. If I was a customer, tomorrow personally I will reassess my alliance and loyalty to a certain brand based on how they are treating me right now, and I am sure my customers are going to do the same, and your customers are going to do the same. The third priority, manage your cash flow. Your sales are on a free fall. I am sure everybody is impacted. Probably the only ones who are not having sales on a free fall are probably the retail stores, convenience stores, not all of them, the small ones are. But like the Sobeys, the superstores, probably they are. But again, they are, I think, temporarily, because now everybody rushed to their business just to stockpile. But, you know, if you don't use this stockpile, you're going to have it for a very long time. Then over time, they are going to see a much lower sales numbers in the future because people already over-purchased. So they will feel it, but probably at a later stage. However, we as small businesses, we felt it right now. And also the other problem is that our fixed cost is almost the same. Like if you are having a rent or a lease, you are still paying on it, right? So you're not getting revenue, or you're getting much less revenue, but you are still paying on a fixed cost. You didn't probably lay off all your employees or none of your employees, so you are still paying your salaries. And then what is going to happen is that this is going to put a huge stress on your cash flow. So you have to preserve your cash and then spend on the strict minimum. anything that is not necessary, don't spend on it. I will give you a simple example. You might think that it is trivial, but it's not. Myself, for example, where we have our office, we have to pay for the parking $100 a month. Guess what? Starting April, I'm not paying for the parking anymore. I will try to find a place where I can park for free, and if I can't, I'm going to take the public transportation, because my business was paying the parking for myself, and I am the owner of the business, so at the end of the day, I need to take care of the cash flow. So it's very important to start taking these small steps. Now, of course, who's going to suffer? The person who was selling me the parking space. You know what? Tough luck. We are all on the same boat. I lost revenue because customers didn't come to me because we had to cancel lots of our services which were face-to-face. Then you know what? You're going to lose the parking space revenue as well. And then if we all understand that this is the chain effect, then we need to rethink the way we do business, because at some point we are in the same community. You know, the worst thing is that having people not surviving, and you know that you need them at some point. So this is how we can think together about what kind of steps we can take so that we can help each other and remain a strong community. So what's going to happen when you manage the cash flow? So after the crisis, your customers will come back to you, but at a much slower rate. So I will give an example, like if you used to go to a specific restaurant, it was your favorite, you were there probably every 2 weeks. Immediately after the crisis, you're not going just in a split second come back and say, yeah, my habits I will continue going to this restaurant. It will take you some time to get back to your habits, because you are again reassessing your priorities as an individual and then as a business. Everyone took a financial hit: salaries, wages, bonuses, revenues, costs, tax. So financially, we all are seeing, even at a personal level, a reduced income. So this is going to create a psychological impact and a psychological barrier where you are conditioning the individual for a period to save and to manage the cash and the money which they have or they don't have yet in a very tight manner, and then all of a sudden ask them to start spending the way they were spending before. It won't happen that fast. So the consumers and the customers will have a much lower purchasing power for a certain period until things go back to normal, like until things go back and employees go back to their jobs, they get all the salaries. But we know that unemployment rate is going to shoot off the roof. This morning we were reading that in the US, they have the highest unemployment rate for the past 20 years just because of this crisis, right? So it's just hitting. We spoke about the psychological barrier to spend less, so it will stay there for a while. So what does it mean as a formula? So we're going to have lower revenues, fixed costs, which didn't probably change, or if it will change just a bit. A potential higher variable cost due to the increase in prices. And when we say due to increase in prices, it could be either as a raw material or parts, or in the retail prices. Because of inflation, because of scarcity, because of all this mess in the supply chain. Like, for example, I don't know if you heard about Apple. Apple closed all their stores outside of China because Apple is producing, I think, more than 90% of their components in China. And because of the problem or the virus and the lockdown in China for 30 days, all factories had to stop. So they couldn't produce the parts, hence they couldn't assemble the phones, hence they couldn't ship the phones. So look at the impact on one of the major players in the world. And tomorrow, I think when iPhone is going to be available on the market, I would expect a price increase, because the cost of transportation is going to be higher, the cost of production is going to be higher, and there will be less demand. You know, we know that the iPhone is one of the most expensive handsets in the world, so they will have less demand. So this is one global firm, and then let's look at our own market. What's going to happen to the small manufacturer, to the small artisan, to the small farmer? All this is going to hit us, and we're going to really feel it. So what's going to happen is cash flow stress, if not negative cash flow. So negative cash flow is very disturbing for a business, because this means that you are on the way for bankruptcy. And this is the good thing, is that when we look at what government is trying to help us, is that they are trying to help in order to avoid this. This is why they are giving support on salaries, support on EI, support on going, I think the government of Nova Scotia gave a guaranteed $100,000 as a loan from the banks if you don't qualify for a normal loan from any of your banks. So they are trying to help to inject money in the businesses so that we can continue working and try to hopefully produce positively an income and the revenue, so that we don't get into this negative cash flow. So here we are going to the fourth priority, which is reassessing our alliances. So if your suppliers took care of you, then you definitely know whom you can trust in the future. And if not, then it's obvious you need to reevaluate your partners. Because, again, as I said before, the way you treat your customers, then you are a customer probably to another vendor, and then you need to see how this relationship is going to work. However, no matter what, even if you had strong partners and who treated you well, and as I said, the way doing business after this crisis is never going to be the same. You have to diversify your supply chain. You have to redefine your business model and your strategy. Because if another crisis is going to hit, maybe this time is going to put the suppliers who were able to survive to their knees next time, because I don't think anyone can take 2 consecutive similar hits. And then you will see yourself completely isolated. So the problem is, or the opportunity is here, is to look at different suppliers, a different dynamics between your partners, so that you can create a chain effect of support. So in case one is falling, then the other within the network are able to support the overall network. And then definitely you need to redefine your business model. What is your strategy? What is your next strategy? How you're going to move your business forward? Why, for example, I would take myself, we are a consulting firm and training firm, right? So we are rethinking now our business model. We are rethinking how we're going to serve our customers in a different way, where we can provide value, knowing all what I told you, that even my customer is under stress of able to pay us the same way they were paying us before. So we are aware of that, and the idea is that how we can serve the community in a better way while keeping our business profitable as much as possible, or at least in the foreseeable future, breaking even. So in order to do this, we recommend to look at a couple of strategy models. So one of them is the SWOT analysis. It's time for you to look at your SWOT analysis to assess your strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats, and try to understand how you can reposition your business, how you can redefine the way you do business based on this. Also, there is another model, which is called the Porter's 5 Forces. So this is how you look at the threats of people coming into the new market, your bargaining power with the buyers, the threats of substitute products, because now it's the time of substitute products, right? Now it's all about who's going to give me something at the beginning cheaper, but also with the good value, good quality, and this kind of stuff. Maybe over time, the notion of cheaper might not be as prominent as today, but we all know that in a case of a severe crisis like now, people are looking at getting cheaper products and services just because of the stress that they are getting on their income. So this is something that you might want to look at and try to understand how it goes. Also, there is another model what is called the PEST analysis, the political factor, economic factor, social, and technological, which could also be extended to legal and environment. And this is especially if you are in a regulated industry or if you are in an environmentally friendly industry where your business model and the promise of your business is based on the environment. So we supported businesses in these different models before. So if you have any questions later after this webinar about how you can do this, I will be more than happy to help you and to guide you. Just to give you an example, I know that we had a couple of people from CBDC joining our call or our webinar. I am not sure if they logged in this morning, but I don't know if you are aware, CBDC, they have consulting services where they give up to $5,000 to do a job. So you can hire consultants and you can submit for the funding from CBDC. For now, their requirement is that you need to be outside of HRM. However, I am not sure if they are going to change this in the near future. Anyway, we're going to talk about this, and also you have just to touch very fast now, WIPSI funding from the Department of Labor and Education. So this goes into training and some part of very specific customized consulting, which you can tap into, and then we're going to talk about how we can help you in this as well. And then the last priority is about believing in yourself. So it is time to reinvent the way you do business. It is time to adopt the technology that will help your business. Now, as I say technology, this doesn't mean that you just need to go online and start serving customers online. There are so many different tools that will help you work remotely, be efficient remotely, and do your business in a different way. Surround yourself with positive attitude. First of all, start by yourself. Start believing that you really can do things in a positive manner, and also surround yourself with people who are going to tell you, yes, you can do it. Don't surround yourself with people who are going to tell you what you cannot do, because this is not the right time. Try to make sure that you are within peer groups, business support groups, friends, families, whoever you want, mentors, consultants, I don't know, even your therapist. But let them all be positive people around you, because this is all what we need. We need positivity. We've got so many negative news in the past few months, I would say. We cannot handle more than this. And find new partnerships. So when I say new partnerships, it doesn't mean necessarily to drop all your old partnerships, but you still need to add on top of the old and the old ones, new ones, or reassess some of your old partnerships.
That's pretty.
So what is the impact? The impact on you, which means on us. What is the impact on us? So we're going to have reduced income, reduced operations. So we all see that we have shorter working hours, less operations, so we are less efficient, less production. Supply chain is really being disrupted from the companies who are distributing the product to the people who are doing the procurement. So cash flow, profitability. Also, probably naturally you might want, or you might tend to increase the prices, your prices of your products and services which you are selling, but there might be a pressure to keep the prices the same. And this pressure could be social, could be political, or could be like, yeah, we are all in it together. Let's see if we can go through this phase safely. And then, of course, while your cost of supply will increase because of shipping costs, scarcity of some products or raw material or parts. So what's the impact on the community? There is a risk of having a prolonged period of social distancing. Why is that? Because we still don't know how the virus is mutating and behaving. Just to give you another example, we were on a forum with a medical team in Ohio in the U.S. So this doctor was a professor at a university, and he's a doctor, and then he was saying that in Ohio they were thinking of imposing social distancing probably until July or August. So can you imagine what is the impact if this is going to be so long? And then on the midterm and to the long term, more people will quit studying to find small jobs and support their families. So mainly in the lower middle income and lower income families. And this was observed in 1918 during the Spanish flu pandemic. So the problem is that this might have a long-term effect on the economy and on the society, where we will have maybe less people graduating from universities or having degrees because they were forced to go and work right now. And consumers will tend to freeze their purchasing habits for non-essential goods and services. But also the good thing is that people tend to forget very fast. So this might not last as long as we might expect. So who are the impacted industries? We believe that, it's not rocket science, but this is what we're trying to compile. So we're going to see airline and travel, hospitality, entertainment, dine-in food industry, fishing, manufacturing, technology and non-technology, non-essential services, luxury, farming, real estate, financial services. So this is just a sample of in a nutshell, we are all going to be affected. All industries are going to be affected. Some of them to a lesser extent, but all of us are going to be affected. But however, we see few winners. We see online services booming. We see cloud and data centers having an increase in their business because everybody is going online, so they need more storage, more capacity for cloud services. So probably they are going to benefit. Pharmaceutical for sure, because of this crisis, now it's not only about the vaccines and the medication that's going to come out of this, but now they are going to rethink many other stuff. Intelligence and artificial intelligence, because of this crisis, how we can have numbers and processes talk to us and be more optimized and help us in deliver our business. Outdoor activities, because people might want now to go to a healthier environment. They don't want to stay anymore in locked places, so they want to get fresh air. Food takeout. However, I will put a caveat that for now the virus can still be transferred through the packaging of the food takeout. So it is like a question mark, but still people have to eat. Not everybody will be able to cook, so we will still see some boom into the food takeout. And virtual reality in tech, because when you go online and then you will need to create virtual reality environments so that you can continue doing business as if you are in the office or in a physical location, but remotely. So what are the viable options? We have many small businesses who will face the unfortunate event to close indefinitely and immediately. Many small businesses will face the unfortunate event to close indefinitely within few months from now. So how to avoid this? In my opinion, the only way to avoid it, at least on the short term, is to consolidate businesses. So either through mergers, acquisitions, or through consolidation of functions. Now let me talk a little bit about these two. Mergers, acquisitions, I will just give a theoretical example. Let's assume you had two pizza restaurants on the same street. Maybe it's time for these two owners to have a discussion and say, listen, let's consolidate and let's create a one strong business rather than splitting and fighting. And this is what we talk about being stronger in the community. Yes, a business might close down, but it might be the result of an alliance that was where the effort is put in a different business so that this business is going to strive. Another example is about consolidation of function, and here I put who could be the owners of this, like the Chamber of Commerce, the business associations, consortium of businesses, where, for example, let's say you purchase office supplies. Each one of us will go to Staples, Grand and Toy, or whatever to go and get these supplies. But what if we are, let's assume, the Burnside Business Association, right? And we go and say, every business can put an order with the business association, and then we go and buy in bulk. So definitely they will be having better pricing than each one individually going. So I think the consolidation of functions on purchasing, accounting, marketing, sales, all these shared services, IT as well, IT support, all this what we call shared services could be a way to reduce our variable or fixed cost through having economies of scale. So is the Chamber of Commerce, for example, thinking about this? Honestly, I don't know. I didn't speak with any one of them about this yet. They might. If not, we as businesses can go to them and proactively and ask them to think about something like this. Or maybe if you have a peer group of businesses, you can all come together and say, listen, for these 10 businesses, we've been meeting for years, every month or every week. Now let's do our own joint procurement, for example, right, where it makes sense. And of course, last but not least, purchase local, even from your main competitor. You know, remember, these are tough times. These are tough days. If you help your competitor to survive, and you can survive, we are going to have a stronger community. And I am sure you know in businesses, like, I scratch your back, you scratch mine. So at some point, things are going to come back, and hopefully we're going to get a stronger economic, to get out of the strongest economic situation, even at a micro level, right? Even at a region level, even at a street level, right? We're not now talking about macroeconomics and the country level. We need to talk about our small community, how we can survive right now. So as a checklist, you need to abide by the health and safety, manage well your employees and customers, reassess your alliances, save cash, remain positive, rethink your business model, and finalize your new strategic plan. You have to act now. If you didn't do anything of this yet, you are late. Okay, it's not to scare you, but you are late. So you need to act now. You need to take tough decisions as fast as possible, but take the right decisions. And in order to do this, you need to do the proper strategic planning. You know, it's not like about I wake up today and how I feel doing things. You need to put a plan that hopefully would work for the mid to long term for you. So the old business world was the survival of the fittest, right? So we're like all competing, the stronger will remain, the stronger will take a bigger market share, and the small guys or the small companies were trying just to play catch up. Unfortunately, it's not the same anymore. Now it's about the power of the pack. So we are stronger together. You know, one person trying to take the biggest market share, or one company, I don't believe that this is going to work in the new, better future after this crisis ends. So here I go back to the programs, like for example CBDC, right? So this is what they can cover: diagnostics and assessment, business management development practices, access to capital, market readiness, business coaching, valuation, mentoring. So all this goes into the consulting topic, and they can fund in total up to $5,000. There are some conditions. I think the businesses have to pay 20%, and the CBDC will cover 80% of this cost. You have Workplace Innovation and Productivity Skills Incentive, which is WIPSI, that is part of the Labor and Advanced Education Department. So here it is more about training. However, the training is very focused. is very customized and is made and tailored to your business, and hence it is considered training / consulting as well. So they can give up to $10,000 if you are a business with less than 50 employees, or they will pay 50% of the total cost if you are a business with more than 50 employees. So I believe that these two programs, on top of what the government is giving in relief plan, are very important to look at them and see what you can do. And we've been active with both. So we had engagement with CBDC, we had engagement with WIPSI. So if you need any support, if you need to understand how you can apply, if you need to know anything about these two programs, please get back to me after this webinar, and I can guide you, I can help you to really understand if any of these two programs can be beneficial for you right now in this crisis. So these are some additional resources. You have the Government of Canada, the Government of Nova Scotia, Harvard Business Publishing, which is about corporate learning. They really put a very, very comprehensive set of content and material that are very helpful for small businesses. McKinsey & Company, EY, Grant Thornton, McInnes Cooper, and BDC. So I really strongly recommend that if during your free time, and if not, allocate time for this, to read this material, because they are extremely helpful and they will give you very good insights and ideas about how to take immediate action for your business. So this ends the presentation part of the webinar. I hope that it was beneficial for most of you or for all of you. Now I will open the floor for some questions if you have, and to open a discussion.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, I do.
I have a question.
Yes.
I'm in the process of starting a cider manufacturing and retail business in Sydney. And we were actually gearing up to have our product ready by the end of April, and then to open our doors in May. So this has put a bit of a wrench in things. And now I'm trying to figure out if we should stall everything completely, or if we should look to just have some sales online.
Okay, this is a good question. You know, Jill, if you already incurred most of the costs, right, and all actually what was waiting for is just to put the key in the door and open, right? Then my recommendation, just like very, very top level, right? Because we don't know, you know, when I give recommendations like this, I always say, please take it with a pinch of salt, because I don't know the details of your business, and I don't know the numbers, so it's very tough to really make predictions. But if I were at your place, I would maybe operate very carefully. I would make sure that I control my cost, that you need to master now the cost of your business. Don't keep anything up to luck, right? And if, as I said, if you already incurred all the costs, and now technically all this is sitting and now costing you money because it exists, right? Then maybe you can open, but definitely at a much smaller scale. And you know, when you say online, again, you remember what I said before, you need to understand how you can do the supply chain, right? So meaning that, how are you going to deliver? Are you going to ask people to come and pick up, or it means that you're going to deliver? If you need to deliver, then you need now to do deals with delivery companies. Was it, I don't know, Canada Post, FedEx, or Special Courier, or maybe you're going to hire someone within your company, and they will take their car and then deliver, right? So all this, you need to think about what is the cost benefit to you if you can do that. But also remember, right? And I don't know if I am just to give my pure personal opinion. So please, I don't want anyone to be offended by anything I say, but I think that for now in this crisis, cider is probably not a necessity product. So even if you open online, you might not see the influx, right? However, people are at home. They are maybe bored. They are still trying to live normally in a way as much as they can. And then maybe cider is going to be the happy part of their life, right? So now, if I am just to give you a hint, maybe by doing so, you need to really combine it with a very, I would call it between quotes, smart marketing move and marketing message, so that you can give a good reason for your potential customers to spend the dollar, which today is not coming to them because they might be on EI, no one did the top up on EI, so now they are like on half a salary, for example. Why they need to spend this dollar on a cider rather than going and spending this dollar on, let's say, bread? Okay?
Right.
So this is a big question which you need to think about and understand the mindset. Now, also, you need to understand your community. And this is why I'm saying community support is very important. Is that if anyway, for example, I was buying pop, a bottle of pop, right? Maybe I can, instead of buying the bottle of pop, I want to support you because I am from Sydney and I am supporting my community. I will start buying cider. So you become a substitution product. So you need to think about all this. And honestly, if you were planning to open in April, I would say take a month or two to redo your strategy, your strategic positioning, to re-understand the market behavior, the consumer behavior in this specific crisis. And then you can decide if instead of really opening in May, you might want to open in June. And why I am saying this, because no matter how we look at past economic models, from 1918, the Spanish flu, to 1980, the oil crisis, to 2008, the economic crisis, all these are not close to what we are getting now at a global level. So no one really knows what is the secret formula, what is the timeline of all this to be behind us and to survive. Okay? So this is my recommendation.
Okay, that's very helpful. Thank you.
No, welcome. Anyone else has a question? No? Okay, so if we don't have more questions from the attendants, I want to thank you for your time. Really appreciate that you joined. Just to tell you that we had a huge take-up on this webinar. Many people trusted us and joined, and many people registered as well. So thank you so much. Please, you all have my email address. You have my phone number. If you need any help, any question on your mind, please come to us, ask the question. No commitment, so don't worry. We're not asking for you to pay anything. There is nothing, no commitment. It's just we are here to start helping and trying to understand how we can be together in the community and see how we can help each other. So thank you so much and have a good day and please stay safe.